They thought this was just another celebrity rumor, but it turned into a full-blown emotional war that nobody saw coming. What started as whispers about Latto and 21 Savage has now spiraled into accusations, confrontations, and a situation that's leaving fans completely stunned. Because now, 21 Savage's wife has reportedly entered the chat, and she is not staying silent. Allegations of pregnancy, claims of hidden relationships, and a marriage allegedly being tested behind closed doors while the internet watches every move like a courtroom drama unfolding in real time. But here's where it gets even more intense. Nothing has been officially confirmed, yet the tension keeps rising. Screenshots, rumors, and social media hints are fueling a narrative that's getting harder to ignore. Is this just another internet misunderstanding, or is there something real being carefully hidden from the public? Fans are split. Some are defending Latto, saying it's all exaggerated. Others believe there's a deeper story involving loyalty, betrayal, and a relationship under pressure from fame. And in the middle of all this chaos stands 21 Savage, silent, calculated, and at the center of a storm that's growing louder by the hour. Because when love, fame, and rumors collide, the truth never stays buried for long. So the real question is, what actually happened behind the scenes and who is telling the truth? Stay tuned, because this story is only getting started, and the next reveal could change everything. The tension didn't appear out of nowhere. It started building quietly, almost invisibly, through small moments that fans initially ignored. In celebrity culture, rumors are nothing new. But this one hit differently because it involved three names that already carry massive attention: 21 Savage, Latto, and the woman reportedly tied to 21 Savage in a serious relationship. When those three collide in the same narrative, the internet doesn't just watch, it investigates. At first, it was just talk online. Random posts, cryptic comments, and fans connecting dots that may or may not have even been there. But then something changed. The conversation stopped feeling like speculation and started feeling like something was leaking out in real time. Because people began noticing timing, changes in social media behavior, subtle unfollows, deleted interactions. And in today's world, those digital breadcrumbs often speak louder than official statements. And that's when the situation escalated. Latto, who has always maintained a confident and controlled public image, suddenly found herself at the center of a narrative she never directly confirmed. Yet, the internet rarely waits for confirmation. It builds stories first and asks questions later. Then came the pregnancy rumors. That's the moment everything shifted from celebrity gossip to something far more explosive. Because pregnancy allegations change the entire emotional weight of any situation. It's no longer just about relationships or misunderstandings. It becomes about consequences, responsibility, and loyalty. And that's exactly why fans locked in. Now, according to online speculation, the wife of 21 Savage allegedly confronted the situation after hearing the rumors circulating. Whether directly or indirectly, the idea of a confrontation added fuel to a fire that was already burning. But here's the reality that many people forget in these situations: none of this has been officially confirmed. No legal documents, no verified statements, no direct public acknowledgement from the people involved. Just silence. And silence in celebrity drama is never neutral. Silence creates space for interpretation. And interpretation is where the internet becomes dangerous. Because now every lyric, every interview clip, every past interaction is being re-examined under a microscope. Fans are digging into old posts, analyzing timelines, and trying to construct a story that feels complete, even if it isn't accurate. And the deeper people dig, the messier it becomes. Some users believe this is a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. They argue that Latto has been unfairly pulled into narratives simply because of proximity to fame and past associations. Others, however, are convinced that something real is being hidden behind carefully managed public appearances. And then there's the 21 Savage factor. Because his silence is the loudest part of this entire situation. 21 Savage is not known for feeding rumors. He rarely engages directly with online speculation. But in moments like this, silence becomes a statement of its own. And fans are divided on what that silence actually means. Is it strategy or avoidance? Is it protection or confirmation? That question alone is enough to keep the internet spinning. Meanwhile, Latto continues to move forward publicly, maintaining her career momentum, appearances, and music presence. But in the background of all of that success, this rumor cloud refuses to disappear completely. And that's what makes this situation so gripping. It exists in two worlds at the same time. The public world, where everything looks normal, and the internet world, where everything is on fire. At this point, the narrative has evolved beyond the individuals involved. It has become a full-scale internet debate about truth, perception, and how quickly stories can spiral without confirmation. Because once a rumor reaches a certain level online, it stops being about facts and starts being about belief systems. People choose sides. And once sides are chosen, every new detail is filtered through bias. A simple post becomes evidence. A deleted interaction becomes proof. A silence becomes confession. That's how digital drama evolves into something much bigger than reality. And this is exactly where things stand now. A situation with no official confirmation, yet maximum attention. A story that continues to grow without any clear direction. And a fan base that is more invested in uncovering the truth than waiting for it to be told. But behind all the noise, one question continues to dominate every comment section, every discussion thread, and every reaction video. If nothing is going on, why does it feel like something is? And that question alone is enough to keep this story alive. Because in the world of fame, perception often becomes reality long before the truth ever shows up. And right now, perception is winning. And that question, if nothing is going on, why does it feel like something is exactly where everything starts to spiral even further. Because in celebrity culture, when perception takes over reality, the situation doesn't just grow, it mutates. What began as scattered rumors is now being treated by online communities like an unfolding investigation. Every new post, every deleted interaction, every vague lyric is being pulled into the narrative like puzzle pieces that may not even belong to the same picture. And that's where things take a darker turn. Because once the internet believes a story is possible, it stops waiting for proof. It starts building its own version of the truth. In this case, the alleged pregnancy rumor involving Latto becomes the centerpiece of the entire discussion. Not because it's confirmed, but because it's emotionally explosive enough to hold attention. And the moment emotion enters the equation, logic starts stepping back. Now fans aren't just asking what happened. They're asking who knew first, who is hiding what, and why nobody is speaking clearly. That silence from all sides is doing something powerful. It's amplifying everything. 21 Savage, in particular, becomes the most analyzed figure in the entire situation. Not because he has spoken, but because he hasn't. Every absence of response becomes a talking point. Every delay becomes suspicious. And every neutral action gets reinterpreted as intentional. But here's what most people overlook in situations like this. Silence in high-profile relationships is often strategic, not accidental. Legal teams, management, image control, all of these factors can influence whether someone speaks or stays quiet. However, the internet doesn't wait for explanations like that. It fills the gap with speculation. Meanwhile, Latto is being pulled deeper into a narrative that continues to grow beyond her control. Fans dissect her past interviews, searching for hidden meanings in words that were never meant to carry this kind of weight. A casual comment becomes evidence. A song lyric becomes confession. A smile in an old clip becomes confirmation. And that's how digital storytelling begins to replace reality. But then something else happens, something that pushes the situation into an even more intense direction. Allegedly, discussions begin circulating about a confrontation, an emotional moment where frustration meets rumor, and private tension allegedly spills into public awareness. Now, whether that confrontation actually happened or not is still unverified. But the idea of it alone is enough to change how people interpret everything else. Because suddenly, this isn't just a rumor anymore. It feels like a triangle of emotional pressure, loyalty, accusation, and silence all colliding at the same time. And in stories like this, perception often matters more than truth. The wife of 21 Savage, according to online claims, is now seen by many as a central emotional figure in the situation. Whether directly involved or not, she has been pulled into the narrative simply because the internet needed a reaction point. That's how modern drama works. It doesn't wait for confirmation, it assigns roles. And in this story, everyone has been assigned a role whether they agreed to it or not. Latto becomes the center of speculation. 21 Savage becomes the silent variable. And the wife becomes the emotional anchor of the alleged confrontation. But none of these roles are officially confirmed. Still, the narrative continues to expand. And with expansion comes distortion. Old friendships are reinterpreted as hidden relationships. Industry connections are labeled as secret links. Even award show interactions are being analyzed frame by frame. It's no longer about what's real. It's about what looks real when isolated from context. And that's where misinformation thrives. Because once context is removed, anything can be made to look suspicious. But here's where things get even more intense. The silence from all parties begins to create a vacuum so strong that it starts attracting even more speculation. Influencers, bloggers, and commentary pages begin amplifying the story, each adding their own interpretation, each adding their own insider angle, whether verified or not. And suddenly, the story is no longer controlled by the people involved. It is controlled by the audience. That shift is critical. Because when the audience takes control of a narrative, truth becomes secondary to engagement. And engagement rewards drama, not accuracy. At this point, fans are divided into multiple camps. One group insists this is completely fabricated, a classic example of how female artists are often dragged into unnecessary controversy based on association rather than fact. Another group believes there is too much smoke for no fire, arguing that the consistency of rumors suggests something real is being carefully hidden. And then there is the third group, the observers, who are not choosing sides, but are instead watching the entire situation unfold like a slow-motion breakdown of internet culture itself. Because this isn't just about celebrities anymore. It's about how quickly narratives can form without evidence, and how difficult it becomes to dismantle them once they take hold. Meanwhile, 21 Savage's name continues to sit at the center of everything like a shadow that never moves. Every interpretation eventually loops back to him, even without direct involvement. That's the strange reality of fame. Sometimes your silence becomes louder than anyone else's voice. And the longer the silence continues, the more powerful the story becomes. But even now, despite all the speculation, one truth remains unchanged. There is still no official confirmation of any pregnancy. There is still no verified confrontation. There is still no direct statement from any involved party addressing the core allegations. Just layers of assumption built on top of uncertainty. And yet, the story keeps growing. Because in today's digital world, stories don't need confirmation to survive. They only need attention. And attention is exactly what this situation has in abundance. So now the question shifts again. Not to what happened, but to what happens next. Because when silence lasts this long, the next voice to speak doesn't just add clarity. It has the power to completely rewrite everything that came before it. And that's exactly why everyone is still watching, waiting, and speculating. And that silence is exactly what pushes everything into its final, most intense phase. Because when a story reaches this level online, the internet stops treating it like a rumor and starts treating it like a countdown. Every hour without a statement feels like pressure building behind a locked door. And everyone is waiting for that door to finally open. But instead, nothing. No confirmation. No denial. No clarification. Just more speculation stacking on top of speculation. And at this point, the narrative has already escaped the people it's about. Now it belongs to the audience. What makes this situation even more explosive is how quickly the tone online shifts from curiosity to certainty. People are no longer asking, "Is this real?" They're arguing over what really happened. And that shift changes everything. Because once people believe they already know the truth, evidence no longer matters as much as emotion. EE.
This is the breaking point. Enhancement clauses are no longer abstract. They directly multiply exposure, and when a defendant doesn't grasp that, the stakes quietly skyrocket.